Alright, let's go ahead and Rock Slide here. It's going to do a little bit of damage. It's going to do a little bit of damage. If we get a flinch on the Incineroar, this would be huge. That is huge. That is massive. Hey everybody, VGC here, back for another VGC video showcase, and today we're going to be showcasing the team that I took to the very last GC tournament in the 2025 season. And this team included Pokemon such as Regigigas, Koraidon, Calyrex Shadow Rider, and Dondozo. It was a very solid team, very good team. Ended up in the top 256 on, I believe, if I recall correctly, it was, yeah, about top 256, scored a bunch of points, and I actually took it to a challenge in the same weekend because there was a quad header, and it went undefeated in that as well. So the team, as you can see here on screen, is a very standard Weezing team. It's a very standard Weezing team. Using the team when it was still pretty unused, as you can see, it does utilize a lot of the standard stuff that you see on a standard Weezing team that has been, you know, tearing up the format lately. I believe it got second place in Portland, and it won in, I think it was Melbourne. But anyways, it's been tearing up the, you know, format, and I figured that, you know, what better time to showcase it is now. And being said, I'm really sorry there has been a severe lack of videos. This new job has made it pretty much impossible for me to have any free time to myself with everything else going on in personal life. And I am going to absolutely try to get back on the swing of things. But, you know, that aside, let's carry on with this and talk about this team. So let's start off with the elephant in the room, and that is Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing is kind of absurd now, especially with like bulky teams. Like you can just hit Toxic Spikes and Taunt, preventing like a lot of things from happening. It's faster than, you know, a fair amount of Pokemon such as Grimmsnarl, Amoonguss, Incineroar, some Incineroar variants. Like it's a pretty fast Pokemon that gets rid of a lot of these like prankster reliant mons and, you know, other supportive mons. I personally am a big fan of it because, you know, it's as I said, naturally bulky. You know, just hit Dazzling Gleams, Toxic Spikes. You know, Dazzling Gleam is not there to do a lot of damage. It's more there to like break sashes, just do like little chip and all that. Toxic Spikes is kind of your main like attraction for this variant of Weezing because, you know, you just start setting spikes, you know, Calyrex softens up things, or Regigigas softens up things, and then like you have Dozo and Tatsugiri in the back. During the GC, there was actually a very fair amount of times that I didn't even bring my restricteds. Like Koraidon and Calyrex weren't even shown. Like I would just leave Weezing, Regigigas, and have Dozo, Tatsugiri in the back, and just win, you know, massive toxic stall wars. It's a really fun Pokemon to use if you're into these kind of teams, and if you know me by now, you know this is my kind of go-to team. Next is Koraidon. Koraidon with Orichalcum Pulse and Ability Shield is just so nasty because, like, this is a jolly, you know, 252 set. It's a pretty standard set, but with Flame Charge, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, you're outspeeding absolutely everything. You're winning speed ties against, you know, Chin Pao. You're winning speed ties against Flutter Mane, other Miraidon, and Koraidon. And you have the access to your ability, and they don't with Weezing sitting there. So, like, you're going to be doing a lot of damage. This is kind of like your main, like, I'm going to do as much damage as I can thing. This is your nuke. Really good. Regigigas is... Regigigas is definitely a unique pick. I had to have something unique. You know how I am. Regigigas is actually pretty good because, like, the way this one is built is that it 100% OHKOs Lunala. Because at the time, Lunala Miraidon was, like, the biggest thing because it was just coming right off of the Milwaukee Regional, if I recall correctly. I think it was Milwaukee. So it was just around the Milwaukee Regional time. So everybody was running it, and Regigigas was just super obnoxious with that because you could just go Terra Fairy, Terra Blast. It just decimates Koraidon as long as they don't Terra. It decimated like Miraidon. It was super good. Knockoff 100% like KO'd like any kind of non-terrestrialized Lunala. Obviously, also like KO'd Calyrex. Rock Slide was there for Ho-Oh because Ho-Oh was also a really big thing. Wide Guard was also a really good thing because like you could lead like just Weezing or like Regigigas Calyrex by itself into Calyrex mirrors, and you could just go ahead and hit Wide Guard, and they couldn't do anything while you just start picking off damage and just start racking up KOs. Like Regigigas, didn't even need Weezing, maybe about a quarter of the time because like it itself was a pretty solid, pretty respectable, commendable like support bond with Wide Guard. Calyrex, Shadow Rider. Man, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just not the biggest fan of this mon. Just because of how unfair and broken this thing is. Calyrex Shadow Rider is easily one of the most splashable restricteds, like the fastest thing in the field besides like Scarfmons, Protosynthesize boosted, like Flutter Mane, maybe Quark Drive boosted, like what is it? Iron Bundle and like Regieleki. Those are like the only things that are faster than it. And with like Astral Barrage, Draining Kiss, and Terra Blast fighting, this thing was an absolute menace because, they would lead like Incineroar as a lead, and you could just Terrasilize, just boink, get Toxic Spikes up, and then just start snowballing. Half the time you wouldn't even need to bring out the Dozo and Tatsugiri in that case. But, I don't really think I need to explain any more about Calyrex and like its capabilities because we all know how this thing is, and we all know this thing is just it's a fair and balanced mod. Alright, so next up is we have Dondozo, and Dondozo is definitely one of the like more unique ones. I say very, very, very loosely because I decided to forego Order Up because given that this was like a really bulky, this was like an incredibly bulky one with not much attack investment put into this thing. With Wave Crash, Earthquake, Body Press, and Protect, I didn't really need Order Up. This was mainly there just to survive. Like, obviously you had Terra Grass to, handle against Miraidon, handle against, other threats. You couldn't, like, get Spored and everything, and it still lasts pretty well today because now that Leech Seed Calyrex is everywhere, you could just start being very annoying with it because you can't Leech Seed it. You're bulky enough to handle it, and if it's toxic, yeah, there's no winning. And Tatsugiri, kind of just your standard Tatsugiri. This is actually the same Tatsugiri set that I've been running since Regulation, I guess you could say Reg A, all the way back in San Diego in the very beginning of the year. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Draco Meteor, Icy Wind, Terra Blast, Muddy Water, Terra Fairy. It's a Tatsugiri. It's kind of fun to use like as a last-ditch effort because like there were times that Tatsugiri was the last thing on the field and like they didn't Terrasilize or like they didn't have like Terra Fairy like Miraidon and then like just drop a Draco and just win. Like last second things like that, really fun. It's a really fun team. As I said, it did really, really well in the GC, went undefeated in a cup afterwards. I'm 100% certain, without any shadow of a doubt, that we would have gotten significantly higher in the GC if it didn't happen to have the fact that like there was, 2 challenges and 2 cups at the same time, of that weekend. So I don't know. As I said, rate it 10 out of 10. For potential wise. But overall, I would say about 4 or 5. 4 out of 5, like in total like utility. But let's go ahead and get into some matches. Thank y'all for watching. As always, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get over to some battles. Alrighty. So we're already off to a really good start here. Off to a really fun start. Honestly, I'm really okay with leading Weezing Calyrex. Yeah, Weezing Calyrex, and then we could totally have Dozo in the back. I really don't see a reason not to lead such a thing. because I think once we get toxic spikes up, I mean, we could just steamroll over everything. And if this is that Glacial Lance Calyrex, or not Glacial Lance Calyrex, Leech Seed Calyrex that's been building up, we'll be fine. We'll be 100% fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're actually going to start with taunting the Grimmsnarl here, and we're going to Astral Barrage. It's not going to do much of the I keep saying Calyrex. Calyrex is mine. I don't like it. Alright, Terra Normal is intriguing. I never would have guessed Terra Normal. Alright, this is fine though. Oh, your Scarf. This is not fine. So Scarf Terra Normal, that is something. Scarf Terra Normal is definitely something. I never would have guessed this in a million years. Alright, so let's go ahead and just start doing toxic spikes here. Let's go ahead and protect Calyrex. Wow. Okay. That's new. Alright, you're just gonna bully me, huh? Jesus Christ, that is a lot of damage. Alright. Toxic spikes. Alright, this is like kind of acceptable though. So let's do this. So it's gonna go one of two ways. Alright, so we're gonna get, you know, the toxic spikes up, or we're gonna draining kiss the Grimmsnarl, or whatever comes in. Urshifu? Yeah, this is okay. And that looks like it's fighting, or like a Dark Urshi. Honestly, given this Dark Urshi, this is probably best case scenario. So it's only it's only basic poison, but we're still getting very needed chip damage. Alright. And Draining Kiss should bring this down to its Sash/KO it. So perfect. Back to full health too? Love to see it. So given that this is Scarf, it is 100% locked into Electro Drift. I'm not going to show off our Terrestrialization just yet. I want to see what they're going to do. So let's go ahead and protect here. Let's go ahead and Draining Kiss, because they can't. What's the word? They can't fake us out. Okay, so they're gonna lock, or they're getting rid of that. So that's good. That's great. That's fantastic, actually. Alright, they're poison, which is fantastic. Alright. I'm surprised they didn't go for a reflect there. Alright, that did next to nothing. Honestly, I'm really okay with terrestrializing Dozo here so they don't try and get a sneaky Leech Seed on us. I don't know, I have a feeling that it's Leech Seed. I have a really sneaking suspicion that this is Leech Seed, so... Like, sue me. I do not trust it. All right, are we going to call it? Are we going to call it? All right, Grimmy is gone. We'll take it. We'll take it 100%. Oh, they just go for a Blizzard Wave off the bat. That's scary. Oh, that's really scary. That could be really bad for us. I mean, the Calyrex is gone, which, you know, that's fantastic, but this literally just runs down to what are they running in the back? Or, like, what is the Miraidon going to be running? I'm not in the right headspace today. I am definitely not in the right headspace today. I'm tired. Alright, so let's go ahead and protect Dozo here. And then we're going to go ahead and Drain and Kiss. Because if it's not a spread move, we'll be okay. We're still okay. So we do lose Calyrex, but that's fine. Because Dozo is going to be incredibly, you know, tanky on this situation here. And Body Press is going to do quite a bit. So the sad thing is we can't exactly, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. Give me a second. We can't outstall the Parabolic Charge PP because it's like 32 or 48. It's like a ridiculously high number. But given that we are Terra Grass, I think once we just get outside of the terrain, we'll be okay. So let's go ahead and Body Press here. We'll be good. Should be perfectly good here, actually. Oh, yeah. We are perfectly A-okay in this situation here. I think what we're going to do is... Okay, I was going to stall out one more turn, but we don't need to. I was expecting to have one more turn of terrain. So, yay, it worked. Dozo's a nasty little bastard. I am trying to keep my language here. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep my language. That kind of just ran out on me. Alright, so, there's not really much that I think we could have done better. I think we played it really good. We didn't, like, you know, just burn our Terra immediately. Go in Terra fighting to try and counter it. That would have been really, really bad for us. Them swapping in the Grimmsnarl onto the Urshifu and we Draining Kissing there was probably the best case scenario for us, because that ensured that you know, Urshifu was not going to survive. Trying to think what, you know, we could have done better. I can't think of anything. I think we played that pretty textbook. So, yeah. I think we played that pretty textbook. So, let's go ahead and go into the next match, and I'll see you guys over there in just a second. Alright, and we are back, and this is one very interesting team here. I love seeing the Whimsicott. I love seeing that there is a Reshiram on screen. That is not a Pokemon that we see very often. So, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and lead Koraidon and Weezing. I think Koraidon Weezing is going to be our best option. And then I think it is more than a safe play to go ahead and have Regigigas and Calyrex in the back. And the reason I'm having Regigigas and Calyrex in the back is Regigigas, as long as they don't terrasilize their Koraidon, it just drops. Like, instantly drops. It is hilarious. Let me think. Let me see. Oh my gosh. There's just dragons everywhere over there. Alright. So this is a pretty interesting lead off here. Actually really scary lead off here. I'm not worried about the Flutter main because we're just gonna flame charge here. Gonna Terrifier flame charge. Then I guess we can start laying down spikes because I have a hesitant feeling that we'll be okay. Chances are this is a Sash variant Flutter main. Yep, there's a Sash variant Flutter main. Called it. Very smart. Very good. Very happy with my smart planning. Alright. So we just go back to normal speed. That's fine. That's okay. I'm probably seeing an Earth Power. Ooh! Didn't expect Earth Power. That's scary. Critical hit, I don't think it mattered. It really depends on how they're trained. It's really cool seeing that, though. I do like seeing Reshiram doing, like, a significant amount of damage. Alright. But what we're going to do here is we're going to bring in Calyrex. Should pick up a free KO on Flutter main, do significant damage to the Reshiram. And then Toxic everything else. Should be the right play. That is an Assault Vest Reshiram. There's no two ways about that. That is a Assault Vest Reshiram, and I like what I see there. I respect it. Alright, do we eat that? Weezing doesn't. We get burned. So... nope. The answer, unfortunately, is no. But... that's fine, because we're at +1. Regigigas should do some significant damage here. Actually, this is problematic, because they can just Sucker Punch our poor baby. That's unfortunate. We can't do much here. I think we lose this one. It's highly volatile, but I do like seeing now Brute Bonnet is just like the #1 way to counter. Like, it's absolutely hilarious how Brute Bonnet just hard counters Calyrex. Jesus. That's insane. Yeah, we can't do anything on this one. GG's to our opponent. Let off really strong, and that critical hit Earth Power may have been like the bane of our existence. I doubt that mattered though in the long run. That's so crazy. Reshiram is actually a crazy mon. I just wish it had a little bit more, you know, utility, like viability in this meta. Like, can't get mad about that. That is so cool to see. So GG to our opponent. I know for a fact that what we could have done better is, actually, what could we have done better? The only thing I can think of is we protected turn 1 on, yeah, I think we protected turn 1 on Koraidon. And afterwards, like, we Dazzling Gleam, you know, do the chip, and then we work on everything. I think that was our best course of action. But Assault Vest Reshiram is actually, like, brilliant. I think that was, like, our major turning point there, is if we protected Koraidon turn 1 and chipped it away with Dazzling. But, yeah, I can't really think of anything that could have been better there. So we're going to just move on, you know, accept our loss, and we will carry on. All right, double electric. This is kind of cool. Yeah, kind of cool. This is actually really cool. What can we do here? I don't feel comfortable with bringing Dozo, like, in the slightest. Dozo's, like, a really, really bad option, funny enough. What we can do is we can actually lead Weezing and RJNVQK, and then we'll have, the two restricteds in the back. I think that might be our best course of action, because RJNVQK, we can't get faked out. And if we need to run our Terra, we can just go ahead and Terra, you know, Fairy and do some significant damage to, you know, Miraidon. We can knock off Farigiraf. We can knock off the horse. I think it might be our best case scenario here, but I don't know. This is kind of a rougher one. Kind of a rougher one, but it's not too bad. It's not too shabby. I think we can handle this just fine. Alright, Incineroar and Calyrex. This is actually really okay with us. Alright, so we're actually going to go ahead and double in and taunt and knock off this Calyrex. And that is literally best case scenario. Knock off should get rid of the either clear amulet. Okay, so we know this is not the Leech Seed variant. And you can't Trick Room us. Alright, we eat that just fine. Actually, not as fine as I thought. Lord. Alright, let's go ahead and Rock Slide here. It's going to do a little bit of damage. It's going to do a little bit of damage. If we get a flinch on the Incineroar, this would be huge. That is huge. That is massive. Because what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and layer another set of Toxic Spikes, and then we're going to knock off this Farigiraf. Because I think they're forced to tear their Farigiraf into a Dark type here. Or Water. I think it's like Dark or Water. That's like your standard like Farigiraf set. It's almost textbook. It's almost textbook. Ground. I mean, ground. Okay, ground means that that's also a parabolic charge or discharge. That's a dead giveaway. But the best part about this is, as long as you don't Trick Room here, they're not going to Trick Room. They are going to Trick Room. What? That's a crazy pick. Oh, you're just a slow Farigiraf. Okay. Color me shocked. All right. So I think what they're going to do here, like, if I'm a betting man, they're going to start just discharging. There's no reason for them not to hit a discharge or parabolic charge. So let's go ahead and Astral Barrage and Wide Guard. Because maybe they'll Volt Switch. That's also a very big possibility, is that they could Volt Switch here. and that is going to be a little scary. But for a graph goes down, that's huge. I mean, they volt switch, right? No, they go Dazzling Gleam. This is massive. This is like best case scenario now. Because now you're forcing yourself into a swap. Like, you have no other option. You have to swap here. And you can't fake out, you know, Calyrex. That's fine. Because Regigigas is doing what Regigigas needs to do. We'll just Astral Barrage again. And we're actually going to Rock Slide, and the reason we're going to Rock Slide here is because I don't know if we outspeed, but the Miraidon needs to go down. Wow! That is a, not very bulky Incineroar. I know we're Life Orb and +1, but like, that's not bulky. Alright, we do lose Calyrex, but that's okay. That is okay. That just got a little less okay, but I think Rock Slide's still going to do a significant amount of damage. We're at like -3 at this point. Ooh, that did a lot less than I was expecting. Alright, so the best part is they cannot Terrasilize here, so we can just start threatening like Flare Blitzes. Like Terrasilize and Flare Blitz. Because they got Toxic Poison Timer. Let's go ahead and just do that. Let's go Flare Blitz, and then we'll just Rock Slide. Because even if they do protect, they're just stalling out the inevitable. Yeah. No, I think we both were in the agreement. There was nothing they could do in that situation. Alright, so Calyrex goes down. Crit did not matter. Crit absolutely did not matter, but you know what? Koraidon got his revenge from last match. Alright, there goes our Covert Cloak. That's fine. Regigigas finishes the Incineroar off, and that is curtains. Can't really think of anything that we could have done better. Definitely can't think of anything that we could have done better. I think that was pretty spot on, and Regigigas getting that flinch like early on is... yeah, that's huge. So, like, the best part is, like, Regigigas did what Regigigas needed to do. And even when Weezing was gone, like, Regigigas was still able to, you know, keep everything alive by, you know, wide guarding where it needed to, and rock sliding where it could. Honestly, I really like this team. And like, as I mentioned, you know, earlier on in the intro and the breakdown, like, I thought about running this for NAIC, but honestly, it's way too volatile of a team, especially with OTS. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend trying it if you want to just do some, like, you know, casual laddering on here. It's, you know, I would rate it about, you know, 3 out of 5, maybe 4 out of 5. You know, it's definitely a 4 or 5. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Sorry again that, you know, there hasn't been many videos lately. It's just life has been an absolute, you know, it's been a carnival. But yeah, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching as always. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like down below. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and we'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, y'all take it easy, y'all be safe, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!